I am president of the Cherry Hill Board of Education, and for the past few years, I've been chair of the Curriculum and Instruction Committee for the board. And we do all the summer reading for the schools. And I can't say enough wonderful things about the partnership between the Cherry Hill Public Library and the school district on so many things, but especially summer reading. There's been a great collaboration to promote summer reading materials for students. And you wouldn't believe how many times we get the question, how do I access the summer reading books? And it's always funny to me because in my mind, I say the place to get books that you don't own for free is the library. So it's just a reminder to people. And the library's been so wonderful in having a display upstairs of summer reading books for students to have, but also providing electronic access for ebooks and audiobooks for students. And I just really appreciate that connection. And I hope that this year as board president, I can continue to foster connection between the library and the public schools, because there's such a great moment that we can all come together, use those resources, and that students can experience doing research in the library, how a librarian can support you to find materials that you need, accurate materials that have a variety of different perspectives that maybe you wouldn't think of. I think it's really important for students to be able to use libraries because sometimes it's hard to distinguish online good resources. And libraries are really a place where librarians can help you figure out where the good resources are, what you should use, and that helps to grow students as they move forward past high school and beyond to discern what kinds of resources they can find when they're looking for something, whether it's a research project for school or whether it's something like how do I file my taxes. All of that information is here at the library. So I really want to establish for students in the community that the library is the place to go when you need to find something out. And I think if we can do that, it'll help our students really as they move forward. So my family, we moved to Cherry Hill over 20 years ago when my husband and I got married. And we actually started by going to the old library. And then we were really excited when we saw that the new library was being built. Growing up in North Jersey, my husband actually worked in our township library. We were in high school together, and so it was always a big part of our lives. So we were super excited to see the new library come to fruition and what that looked like for the community. Sure. Once I had my oldest child, I was sort of at a loss as to what to do with this new baby and where to go to find community in Cherry Hill. So I signed he and I up for the baby story time when he was 4 months old, I guess more for me than for him. And it was just a great experience. I was able to connect with other families with young children in Cherry Hill and start to engage with them and find support and really just a place to be with him where I felt comfortable and welcomed with other parents that were at the same moment that I was. So that's maybe one of my favorite memories. I also really loved the story walks during the pandemic. I don't think I realized how much the library was a part of my life until we couldn't come inside the library anymore. It left a big hole, especially during the summer when my children and I are at the library all the time. So when the library started doing the story walk in the back, my children and I were super excited to come do it. And every time the book changed, we would come do it together. It gave us a sense of continuity and community together during a time when it was really hard to find that. So I appreciated it. So I absolutely love the summer storytime series in the parks and playgrounds around Cherry Hill. It's super fun to get to experience playgrounds that maybe you don't usually go to. And it's usually a great moment to connect with other families in the community. I've brought all three of my children to those, and we always hang out and stay and play afterwards. And it's a nice way to get to parts of Cherry Hill that maybe you don't usually go to. You get into your groove of the places that you go, the park that's in your community, and that's special too. But it's also nice to see all the resources and that connection between the township, the library, the kids. It's really nice to see all those things come together and explore places that you don't usually go to. I love the fact that the upstairs is a dedicated space for youth. I think it's really wonderful because parents can go up there with very small children and not worry if their child is being happy and loud about being at the library because it's a space just for them. I love the fact that there's a teen space as well with YA books, but also resources for teens. I think it's really important in this environment where there's so much misinformation abounding on the internet that kids have a place to go and they can explore topics they might be interested in with factual information. And the library is such an important resource in this moment where we have all this information on the palm of our hand, but not all of it is true. The library can guide you to factual information and resources that you might need. And for teens who are figuring things out and may want to explore different topics, that teen section is a really special place. Sometimes there's topics that teens need information about, like mental health topics or topics that may be difficult to discuss, but they can come here and those resources are readily available. Topics for the LGBTQIA community, teens who have questions about that, it's a good place to get that information in a supportive environment, and all of that's there for them to access. So mostly I just remember my husband and I moving here, and like I said, my husband had worked in the public library in the town where we grew up, which was similar to Cherry Hill. The library was the center of town. It was the community gathering spot for the whole town. And when we came here and we saw the old library, I will confess to being a little bit disappointed. I said, this is the library in Cherry Hill? Okay, and it was fine. But then when this space opened up and I saw that it was the library, but it was so much more. It was the community gathering spot. That to me made such a huge difference. It really is the central part of town. It's the heart of the community. It's where you find resources and connection for all of us. And I think that's so important. The Museum Pass program. So as a parent of 3 children who sometimes is struggling to find things to do that are not super expensive, we use that library pass program frequently to access places to go that are educational for the family. We just did over winter break Tyler Arboretum for the day with all 3 of my children who are 16, 13, and 7, and the whole family had a great time. We actually went on New Year's Eve. And it's such a wonderful resource, I think, because everything is so expensive, especially when you have a larger family, lots of kids, and it's nice to know that the library provides that resource for families. Some of the passes are almost impossible to get. Please Touch Museum is super popular. Cedar Run Wildlife Refuge, which is one of my favorite places. There's a museum pass here, the Museum of the Revolution in Philadelphia. So it's just such a wonderful resource. But it is something that I will frequently refer other community members to when they're looking for something to do with their kids. Did you know the library has passes? And I just think, especially now when everything is so expensive, it's really helpful that we have those passes to share among everybody, and it helps families access things they maybe wouldn't be able to access otherwise.